Hey everyone, welcome back to another Elden Ring video. I hope that everybody is having an absolutely fantastic day, and I hope that you guys are enjoying playing Elden Ring as well. But in today's video, I want to go over a brand new build for you guys. I think it's rather unique, and this is the one that I'm going to be bringing over to the New Game Plus, and I'm pretty much at a point that I am ready to do so. So if you guys want kind of a tidbit, a little bit of information quickly, then I'm going to be releasing a video on what you guys need to do before you actually get into New Game Plus, and that's going to probably be coming out tomorrow or the day after this one was released, depending on when you actually watch this video. Which, if you're not watching it right away, what are you doing with your life? You need to subscribe and like this video so you guys get notified when I do drop a new video just like this one. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the actual build. For lack of a better build name, I'm calling it the Princess Mage. If you guys have something better, by all means, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below. And I know that if you guys are playing as a male character, which I am not, I usually play as a female character. But if you want to play as a Princess Mage, by all means, go to do that. There's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of a dress up. But let's go ahead and dive into the build itself. Now, the first thing that we're just going to go ahead and cover is the fact what I'm actually wearing. Now, a majority of this is going to be the Nox Monk or the Maiden Armor. There's also the Swordtress set. They're all very similar. The greaves and the bracelets are actually going to be the same regardless of which one they are. The tops will be slightly different depending on which one you're actually attacking and killing. Unfortunately, these do take a long time to grind out and get because there are very few of these on the map. It took me about 2 hours to get all 3 sets fully done. That was a ridiculous amount of time, and honestly, the queen's bracelets that you guys see here on the screen provide a little bit better as far as the physical just the damage and negation in general, so that's the reason that I'm wearing them. But I thought it all kind of fit and looked really neat together, so that's the reason that I decided to kind of go with it. The blue, the cream, the white, all kind of blend in really well, and I like it. And it does provide a little bit of that like I said, that damage and negation for whatever purpose I might need, and it is a really light set. However, the poise really sucks, and honestly, you can wear whatever you really want to. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Now, as far as a majority of the headpieces go, there are benefits. You can get some that help you with intelligence, specifically like the Queen's Crescent Crown here. You can get another one, the Glintstone Crown, which is a huge increase, but it also decreases, you know, your stamina FP and also your HP as well, which, you know, that's not so good. We don't really want that, but you can just really wear whatever you want, so you're not limited by what I'm currently wearing. If you don't like it, wear what you want, no big deal. Now, as far as the 4 talisman that I am equipping, I'm going to go over a couple other ones that you could very much consider to use. But I put a ton of points into vigor, and that is because, well, I'm not dedicating a lot of my flasks towards health. I'm dedicating a majority of it towards FP because everything that we're mostly going to be using is going to be using FP, so I needed to have a lot of it, and I wanted a lot of it without having to always take more flasks. So I just wanted to make sure that I had a lot. Also, I do have a lot of dedicated to my mind as well. Same thing. Obviously, the Noble Navy hood here gives me 1 increase to my mind, whoopie-doo-dah for that, but I just thought it looked really cool together. Wear whatever you want. So we're using the Shard of Alexander, the Graven Mass Talisman, the Ritual Sword Talisman, and the Taker's Cameo. These two, hopefully we're always at maximum HP anyway, so we're going to get additional power towards anything, whether that's spells or just using attack for whatever, because we do have a couple swords that we're going to be using also. And then we do have the Taker's Cameo, which will restore HP upon defeating enemies. If you want to take this even further, we could use the Great Rune that will give us more HP every time that we attack something, which we could do that if we want to. but it's not really needed. It's kind of overkill. Now, I know a lot of builds are going in using the different source seals or the scar seals that are up here, these three, and really that's more of a personal preference. The reason that I'm not using them is I'm a very high level and I don't need any more levels specifically to be generated towards them. I can use a different talisman just because I am a high enough level. I can clearly choose what I want to be able to put my attribute points into. But another really good one to use is you can, in combination, use both of the Graven talisman, so Graven School and the Graven Mask. So we're going to raise the potency of sorceries, plus we can also greatly raises the potency of sorceries. So those two would definitely work very well together. If you're going to be casting or them very quickly and you want to shorten time, the Radigan icon is a really good option. The other ones would be the Karian Filigree Crest, which will lower the FP consumed by skills, so we can have even more opportunity to use more of the FP before we have to replenish it. And then the Godfrey icon, which will enhance charge spells and skills. So let's go over at least the ones that I'm currently using and where the locations are. Now, the first one is going to be the Taker's Cameo here. Now, this one is obtained by going to the Volcano Manor. If you head on over to the Volcano Manor and you talk to Tanith, once you actually get over there, she'll actually give you 3 contracts, and once you complete all 3 contracts for assassination, you're going to be invading NPCs worlds and killing them. That's after that you'll be able to meet Rykard, and then you'll be able to fight him as a main boss. But after you finish those 3 assassinations, you talk to her, you'll be able to be given Taker's Cameo. That's how you actually go ahead and get that one. So it's more or less just complete 3 really quick assassinations, especially if you're already in the mountaintops of the giants. It can be done extremely quickly if you need it to be. Now, moving on from there, we have the Graven Math Talisman. Now, this one does require you to be up in the mountaintops of the giants anyway. So if we head to the map and go on over there, if you come to this location right here, this Albinarch Rise, it's guarded by its seal, and you basically have to get the 2 imps to take care of each other and kill each other. Now, the best way that I was able to do that is I was able to obtain the 2 imps as far as a spirit summon, and I used the spirit summons to kill them, and that actually worked as well. So ultimately it's imps killing imps. It doesn't matter how they're killed, but you just let them kind of attack each other. You can help them out a little bit because they are a little bit harder. Once you kill both of them, then the seal's broken and you can get the Masson Graven Talisman from that location. Now, moving on from there, the next one we do have is the Shard of Alexander. So this one, you do have to complete Alexander's quest. So the first time that you ever meet Alexander is going to be down in Limgrave. If we head on all the way down into Limgrave, you're going to find him right before this Saints Bridge location. It's either like right here or up here. It's on one of these 2 cliffs, and he's stuck and he's calling for help. So if you ride past this point in the game, you'll start hearing some cries for help. Go help him. That will start the quest line. And then I didn't do anything with him again until I believe the defeat of Radigan, and then he started asking me for more help, and I think he ended up at the Volcano Manor at one point. And then you eventually have to defeat him in a battle. That's how he wants to, whatever. No spoiler. I guess that is a spoiler, but that's what you're given upon defeating him. He gives you his innards. A little disgusting, but that's how it works. Now, as far as the Ritual Sword Talisman, this one can be obtained right when you get into Altes Plateau. And if we go to our map here, you can find it right here at this location at the Lux Rune site. So this is the Erdtree Gazing Hill. So you come here, you come up to this location. You do have to go around, and you can use Torrent to get up there to make your way up there. There's no real easy way to get there, but you go and find the staircase, and then you have to defeat an enemy, an NPC, like most situations, and then you open up a chest and that will be your reward. Now, as far as the other talisman that I had mentioned earlier, there are a couple that I can just quickly go over. This one, the Karin Filigreed crest, can be obtained by EG, which is going to be right outside of Kargan Manor. So again, if we go to the map here, go all the way out first, and then if we scroll over here, you can find him right about in this location. It's right next to this waypoint. So the war counselor EG, he'll sell it to you once you complete all the dialogue with him. I think it's like 5,000 or 8,000 runes, so it is kind of spendy. Godfrey's icon, you can actually find that right here, and you do have to defeat the enemy inside of the area, the arena. So it's actually relatively easy. And there we go. Now, as far as the weapons go, the Wings of Astil, not fully maxed out, but pretty close. Same thing with the Kargan Regal Scepter. And then I'm using the Serpent's God's Curse Sword. Now, let's talk about the non-main two weapons first. Now, the reason that I have this one in my inventory is really for only one reason, and I just got rid of it. And that is, right here, we can see that this sword restores HP upon slaying an enemy. So not only are we getting some more HP from the Taker's Cameo, which could technically be replaced if you're using this a little bit more often, but in the situation that you need to use some double swords, you can kind of get a lot of HP restored if you would like. And that's the main reason for this one. You really don't need to have this one in you or even on you, and you could choose to use whatever you would really like to, but that is the reason and the only reason that I am putting it in with this specific build. Now, as far as the dagger goes, the reason that I'm using it is I put Bloodhound Step on it. I love Bloodhound Step. I'm probably going to be using it in a majority of my builds. I feel like it's a really good Ash of War to get in and out of situations, or vice versa, to get just dodge out and then dodge back in really quickly. You can get a much further distance than even rolling can. So if you need to get out of a situation and you need to get a little bit of range, and the weapon is a little bit more of a range like a spear, you can hopefully have enough distance between you and the enemy to go ahead and use your staff if you want, your scepter, or you could even use the Wing of Astil power tech, the Nebula, which is really, really cool. We're going to get into that here in just a moment. So that's the reason that I'm using that. It really doesn't matter what dagger that you use. I just went with a dagger that's actually relatively common, and you can find this specific dagger, I believe, at the very first castle, Stormville Castle, inside of Stormville. So really not that difficult. And I just duplicated my Ash of War and was able to put this one on this as well. Otherwise, I really don't use it all too often, but it does come in handy if you need to quick get in a couple jabs, and then you can dodge right back out, and then you can go ahead and use your scepter as your main weapon, which is exactly what we want to do. Now, the scepter, let's go ahead and talk about that next. This one is going to be given to you as a reward. And ultimately, you get to choose between two different rewards. It's this or the full moon, and it's going to be completed once you get the remembrance of the full moon, and then you can turn it into the two-finger lady at the round table hold, and you can choose which one you want. And this is the one that I chose. So my next playthrough, I plan on getting the full moon when that time comes. Now, the Wing of Astil is a little bit more unique. Now, this one will take you a very long time to go ahead and get, and you can actually get this in the deep root depths if you want to do it. So the best way to do this is to do all of Ranni's storyline, and then you can go to Reyna's Rise, which is a tower right next to it. So if we actually back out and go over to that area, if you do everything here at Ranni's Rise and then go up to Reyna's, you'll actually get teleported down into Deeproot Deeps. This thing is a little bit different of an area to go ahead and find it, but ultimately you're going to find it right here where this Hermit Merchant is actually at. and that's where you can find it. So you have to make your way up into this area and just go ahead and grab it. The best way to actually get this one is to go ahead and make your way to this waypoint right here, and then come over here. There's a ladder, and then you can actually run across and through here, and then just make your way on top of it. Now there is a creature that will be chilling here, so hopefully if you have the scepter already, or if you're using another build that has a little bit of range, that's the best way to be able to take care of that thing. Or you can actually run and grab that chest in between each of their attacks, and that's how you'll go ahead and get that one. But that pretty much is everything. The only other thing that I really want to cover would be the stats on everything. So if we look over on the right hand side, mind and vigor, you really don't have to have as high as I have, and you really don't even need to have any faith or arcane in this build. That has really nothing to do with it. A majority of things that we are going to be using are going to be scaling off of intelligence, so there's that. The only one that's not is going to be the Serpent's God's Curved Sword, but we're really not going to be using it that much. Like I said earlier, the only time we're really using this is to restore a little bit more HP, and if that is enough HP for you, then you can change out Taker's Cameo for something else. So really whatever is beneficial for you. Now, as far as the flasks go, typically I have 10 here, and I used one, and then there's 4 of the HP, so really it doesn't matter. And then as far as our Wonders Physics flask goes, these are the 2 things that I'm currently using it. So I'm using it so that it eliminates all FP consumption, and then temporarily boosts the magic attacks. And we can use it for Comet Azure, or we could use it for the Meteorite one. Now, as far as spells go, this is the last thing I do need to cover. These are the ones that I am using. I would say that I love the Pebble, even though it's a very basic one. It does a ton of damage. The Terra Magica, this one will just help us with strengthening the magic. So as long as we're standing within the seal that it creates, we can actually do more damage, and that's where like the Comet Azure will actually come into effect. A Duelist Moonblade, this one's really cool. It allows us to have a sword and kind of do a ice build-up to enemies, and it has a really good reach on it, which is what I like. And then I went with the Stars of Rain because this thing just has a ton of the stars, we're going to call it, spells, and they actually track the target really well. And if you charge this up even without any charging talisman, this thing will kill a lot of things or drain them pretty much all the way down very, very quickly. So if you can't quite hit him with the Pebble or even the Ice Crag, then doing the Dark Stars, the Stars of Rune here, then this thing is actually really good. But you could go with the Comet Azure. I actually prefer this one over the Comet one, or the Meteorite one of Astel. Even though this one technically, you know, has 1 slot less because the Comet Azure does take up 3 spots, but its cost for the FP is 20 more than the Comet Azure, and I feel like the Comet Azure actually does a much better job at hitting your enemy for the most part. That's just what I've noticed, but you can really do whatever you would like. But hopefully this does help you guys out. If it does, make sure that you guys go and like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would help me out a lot and is greatly appreciated. But until next time, YouTube, you guys keep doing what you're doing because you're already doing it, and you guys stay gaming.